The stars were quiet, but the silence didn't feel peaceful. Captain Elena Ray stood on the bridge of the horizon's edge, sleek human starship designed for deep space observation. Outside, the black sky was full of distant stars and danger. Hiding in the dark, the ship was sent by Earth to observe a massive galactic event. The Vorthan League had invited many alien empires to watch a simulated battle. It was a show of strength, tactics, and advanced technology. Humanity was not invited. To fight, only to watch. But Captain Ray didn't trust the invitation. "They don't like us," she said quietly. Watching the holographic screen in front of her, "They think we're wild animals in metal suits." Her second-in-command, Commander Malik, nodded. "They said it's just a game, just a simulation," he replied. "But they've placed real warships in real formation." Ray narrowed her eyes. "Exactly." The horizon's edge moved into position near the edge of the battle zone, safely outside the combat grid, but the ship's sensors were busy scanning, analyzing, watching everything inside the observation deck. Gung Ensign Zoe looked nervous. She had studied alien war games at the academy, but this felt too real. Why would they invite us? She whispered, "They never respected humans before, because they want to show off," Malik answered. "They think this simulation will remind everyone that they are still the rulers of space." But Captain Ray knew better. She had read too many reports, seen too many patterns. The Vorthan League had been quiet lately. Too quiet. Something was building. A voice crackled over the comms. It was General Tarkuin of the Vorthan Fleet. "Human vessel Horizon's Edge. You are cleared to observe from grid point D17, the voice said in a cold tone, "Maintain passive mode. Do not interfere." "Understood," Captain Ray answered calmly. "Passive mode only?" But she gave Malik a look. And he understood. "Activate deep scans. Silent mode," he whispered to the crew. "Let's see what they're really doing." Crew got to work. Their fingers moved quickly over control panels. No alarms, no lights, just quiet actions. The ship's stealth systems worked perfectly, invisible to others. Out in the void, massive alien ships floated into position. Each one was as large as a city, glowing with strange colors and power. The Vorthans, proud and ancient, led the formation. Behind them were their allies, the Trivax, the Halari, and the insect-like Boardrex. The simulation began. Fake missiles. Launched ships pretended to dodge and counterattack. It was like a dance of war, perfect and clean. But the horizon's edge saw something strange. A Vorthon heavy cruiser moved slightly off course, its weapons charged, but it wasn't using simulation weapons. "It was arming real plasma torpedoes, Captain," Malik said sharply. "That cruiser just went live." Ray stood up, her voice firm. "Mark its position, track all nearby ships." The cruiser suddenly fired a torpedo reel, glowing dangerous. It struck a Trivax ship, cutting through its shields. The explosion was real. The screaming that followed on the comms was real too. The bridge of Horizon's Edge went silent. Only the sound of systems beeping filled the air. "It's no longer a simulation," Zoe whispered, eyes wide. "It's war." Ray turned to her. "Crew, stay calm. We do not engage," she said. "But we will not sit blind." She activated a hidden console, unlocking the ship's advanced AI assistant. "Codename, Sentinel." "Sentinel," Ray said. "Analyze all combat data and give me a threat map." "Yes, Captain," the AI responded with a calm voice. "Warning, more ships are switching to live weapons. Estimated 32% of participants are now in combat mode." On the holographic screen, red dots started to appear, more and more ships breaking simulation protocol. The battle was becoming real, and the galaxy didn't know it yet. Ray looked at her crew. "They invited us to watch," she said slowly. "But I think someone wants us to take the blame." Commander Malik frowned. "You think we're being set up?" Ray nodded. "They needed someone to point fingers at when this turns into chaos." Humans were the perfect scapegoat. Suddenly, a Boardrex vessel sent a direct signal, encrypted, "Urgent help." Ambush, not simulation. "Traitors among Vorthans." The message repeated in broken language. Ray stood still. then made her choice. "Zoe," she said, "send our drone scouts into the asteroid belt. Find hidden ships." "Yes, Captain," Zoe replied, fingers flying over the console. Ray turned to Malik. "Ready defensive systems quietly. No weapons active unless we are fired upon." Outside, the stars still looked calm, but in the shadows, a storm was rising. The ship that came to watch was now watching history fall apart. Earth's fate might depend on what this one ship chose to do next. The second explosion wasn't planned, and everyone knew it. Captain Elena Ray didn't move from her command chair. Her eyes were locked on the screen in front of her. One of the Trivax ships was going to blown into pieces, and the fire still burned in space. "This isn't just a mistake," she said coldly. "This is something else." Commander Malik leaned forward. "Reading the new data, multiple ships are charging real weapons now, Captain," he said. "The simulation is falling apart." But the official Vorthon broadcast was still running like nothing happened.
Ow.
Their fleet commander kept narrating the fake battle, calling out moves, praising formations, as if the explosion had never happened. It was a lie. "Why are they pretending it's all normal?" asked Ensign Zoe. "Don't they see their ship just got destroyed?" "They see it," Ray answered, her voice sharp. "They just don't want anyone else to see it." The Horizon's Edge was still in passive mode, quietly observing from the edge of the grid, but Ray had already broken the rules. Her ship was now scanning deep into the battlefield using stealth sensors, and what it found was terrifying. Captain Malik said, pointing to the new data feed, "We've detected cloaked ships hiding in the asteroid field." "How many?" Ray asked without blinking. "At least 9 so far. Possibly more," he said. "They're positioned perfectly to strike both sides." Ray stood up and crossed her arms. "Someone planned this," she said, "and they wanted to make it look like a natural accident during the simulation. The enemy had created the perfect trap: make the simulation real, create chaos, and blame the humans or anyone they wanted, Captain." "Sentinel," the ship's AI spoke up. "Energy readings confirm all cloaked ships are using Vorthon tech but with altered ID signatures." "It's a false flag operation." Ray's eyes narrowed. "So some Vorthons are turning on their own allies." "Yes, and framing outsiders," Sentinel added. Outside, more ships were breaking formation. Some fired real weapons. Others tried to retreat. The battlefield was turning into a mess of confusion, betrayal, and fear. Emergency broadcast from the Boardrex vessel, Unseen Claw. "Yes," Zoe said. "They're calling for help. They're under attack from their own side." Ray took a deep breath, put them on screen. The screen flickered, showing a damaged Boardrex captain, his mandibles bleeding, his voice panicked. "We are not traitors. We are under fire. Something is wrong. This is not a game." The screen went black again. "Should we help?" Zoe asked. Ray paused. Her orders were clear: observe only, never interfere. But now the game was over, Zoe Ray said firmly. "Open a secure channel to the Vorthon flagship." Zoe did, and soon. General Tarquin's face appeared on the screen. His voice was calm, but his eyes were cold. "Yes," Captain Ray said. "Do you enjoy the show?" "I'm watching." "A massacre," Ray said, her tone sharp. "One of your cruisers fired a real torpedo. And now dozens of ships are using live weapons. Are you going to stop it?" Tarquin smiled slightly. "The simulation is evolving. Sometimes chaos creates true strength." That answer chilled everyone on the bridge. "You planned this," Ray said, her voice flat. "You wanted to test who would survive a real battle without telling them it was real." Tarquin's smile faded. "This conversation is over," he said, and cut the line. The screen went dark. Ray turned to her crew. "That confirms it. We're not watching a battle. We're inside a secret war." "What now?" Alec asked. "Quietly, we find out who's behind this. We gather proof, and we survive," Ray replied, suddenly. The ship shook just slightly. "Someone's locking targeting sensors on us," Zoe shouted. "Shields up." Malik ordered, "No weapons yet." The crew moved quickly. Lights dimmed as the ship's defense systems went active. Still silent, still hidden but ready, Ray moved to the side console and activated the stealth. "Drone control. Launch drones 3 through 7 into the asteroid field."
Ow.
Full scan mode, tiny black drones zipped into space. Invisible to most sensors, they spread out like shadows, scanning every rock. Every ship, within minutes, the results came back. There are at least 15 ships hidden in the belt. Malik said, reading the stream. All have altered signatures. Pretending to be different species, they're designed to create confusion. To make everyone blame someone else, Ray nodded. We need to send this data to someone who'll believe us. But who? Zoe asked. Everyone's too busy trying not to die. Ray's eyes lit up. The Ilari, she said. They're neutral observers like us respected, and they never take sides. If we can send them the evidence, they'll spread the truth on it, Zoe said, starting the transmission. More ships exploded in the distance. The fake battle was now a real war. The Vorthan flagship had vanished from view, probably gone into stealth. Ray sat back in her chair and stared at the stars. They wanted to test us, she said softly. They wanted to see if humans would run or fight. She leaned forward, her voice calm but full of power. Let's show them what happens when you push the ones who were just watching. The horizon's edge was no longer just an observer. It was now part of something much bigger, and it had just begun to move. The blast tore through space like thunder in the void. A second Trivax ship exploded this time. No one could pretend it was part of the simulation. On the bridge of the horizon's edge, red lights blinked silently, warning of rising power levels. All around them, enemy ships, allies, and even neutral vessels had now entered full combat mode. This is no longer a game, Captain Elena Ray said coldly. This is war. Commander Malik looked up from his panel, his jaw tight. 54 ships have gone live, shields up, weapons charging. Ray shook her head, and yet the Vorthon flagship is silent, not responding to anyone. They planned this, Zoe said, staring at the screen. They wanted to start a war without declaring it. Ray didn't answer right away. Her eyes watched the battlefield, a swirling mess of explosions, burning ships, and broken alliances. But her mind was already 10 steps ahead. Targeting scan, she ordered. Who's aiming at whom? Everyone, Malik said, scanning quickly. There are no teams now, no rules, just chaos. Exactly, Ray said, and someone sitting back and watching it all burn. Outside the ship, one of the drones returned from the asteroid belt. Its feed showed something shocking. 3 cloaked warships were moving away from the belt. Toward a damaged alien medical ship. It was unarmed, helpless, clearly marked as non-combatant. They're going to destroy it, Zoe said in horror. Ray's fingers hovered over her command controls. Captain Malik said cautiously, if we intervene, we expose ourselves. We break observer protocol completely. Ray nodded slowly. Yes, she paused, then tapped the control. Helm intercept course. Shields too full. The horizon's edge turned sharply, engines flaring. Blue racing toward the medical vessel. The alien observers on nearby ships stared in disbelief, wondering why the humans were moving. A message came in from the Ilaria-wise, jellyfish-like species known for peace and wisdom, human vessel. The Yalarian voice said slowly, you are leaving neutral ground. Are you prepared for what this means? Ray replied with a calm voice, if protecting the innocent breaks your rules. Then the rules were wrong. The ship moved fast, cutting through debris. The cloaked ship spotted them and turned to attack. But it was too late. Ray gave one command, Sentinel Fire Pulse Disruptor. Non-lethal, full spread, the ship's underbelly glowed, and a wave of golden light exploded from its core, washed over the 3 attackers like a silent storm. Their engines died, their shields collapsed, they drifted in space alive, but helpless. The medical ship sent a blinking signal of gratitude. Ray turned to Zoe. Mark those attackers. Trace their command links. I want to know who gave the order. Zoe nodded, typing fast. We got it, Captain. They're using an encrypted Vorthan protocol, not civilian, not military black ops. So this isn't just war, Malik said. This is a purge, Ray agreed. They're cleaning house, wiping out witnesses, pushing blame on others. And they almost got away with it. Until the humans acted, soon messages started pouring in. Ships across the battlefield were now contacting Horizon's Edge. Not just for help, but for leadership. The humans were the only ones who hadn't lost control. The board Rex are requesting assistance, Zoe said. The Halari are evacuating. They want a safe route, even some of the Vorthan ships. Confused and betrayed, we're signaling for guidance. They don't trust their own leaders anymore, Malik whispered. Ray stood tall. Good, she said. Let's show them who to trust, she turned to Sentinel. Give me full situational control. Overlay battle map. Plot escape corridors. Defensive zones. Emergency aid sectors. The ship's screen lit up hundreds of ships, marked in red, green, and yellow, and in the center of it all, a single blue dot, the horizon's edge. The Watchers had become the eye of the storm. Send our recommended routes to all friendly ships, Ray ordered. Let's save who we can. Zoe sent the data instantly. Meanwhile, Ray activated a secondary beacon, a human tech known as a quantum signal flare. It lit the space around them with a coded burst of light. Not a weapon, but a message. The humans had taken command, across the stars. Species who once mocked Earth now looked to it for help. The humans didn't have the biggest ships, or the oldest tech, but they had something else. They had clarity, they had courage, and they weren't afraid to act when it mattered. Ray stared out at the battle, then whispered, They thought we came to watch. She looked at her crew. But we came to remember, we came to understand, and when the time came, we chose to stand. The horizon's edge turned again, its engines blazing, not to run but to lead, and in its shadow, the galaxy began to follow. The battlefield had no leaders left until the human ship spoke. On the edge of the chaos, the horizon's edge floated like a shadow. Its weapons were quiet, but its influence was growing. One by one, ships from across the stars turned to face the human vessel, not with fear, but with hope. Captain Elena Ray stood in front of the command screen. Her voice was calm, but her eyes burned with purpose. They think they control this war, she said. Let's show them what happens when humanity leads. Commander Malik leaned in. Incoming messages from 9 fleets, Captain, all asking the same thing. What now? Ray gave a slow nod. We give them direction. We give them something their leaders didn't. Truth. She turned to Sentinel, the ship's AI. Project to Fulcrum broadcast, open channel, all frequencies. A soft chime echoed through the bridge as Sentinel replied. Broadcast channel live. Ray took one breath, then spoke. This is Captain Elena Ray of the Horizon's Edge. We are not here to conquer. We are not here to take sides, she said, her voice steady. But we are done watching innocents die while cowards hide in shadows. She stepped forward. You were lied to. The simulation is over. This is a real war. Started by traitors who wanted to erase you in silence. Her voice sharpened. You don't need permission to survive. You don't need orders to defend yourselves. If your leaders won't protect you, stand with us. The message ended. In the next few seconds, the galaxy changed. Ships that had been drifting with no orders began to move. Fleets formed into protective lines. Damaged vessels were pulled to safety, and at the heart of it all was one ship, one human ship, guiding them, Captain, Malik said with amazement. Some of the Vorthon Guard are breaking away. They're joining the neutral fleets. Ray nodded. Not all Vorthons are enemies, just the ones who think power comes from silence. Suddenly, warning lights flashed across the bridge. Contact. Zoe shouted. A stealth missile just launched, hits targeting the Halari command vessel. Reacted without hesitation. Intercepted. Now. The Horizon's Edge shot forward, engines roaring, cutting across the battlefield like a blade of light. The human ship rotated mid-flight and fired a single magnetic pulse. The missile spun off course and exploded harmlessly in space. Cheers broke out across multiple alien channels. Ray didn't pause. Send protective drones to the Halari and Boardrex leaders. Let's make sure no one else gets ambushed. Zoe nodded. Drones away. Captain, message from the Boardrex. Malik added. They're calling us. The ship of balance. Ray blinked, surprised for a moment, then smiled faintly. Let's earn that name. Minutes later, new data arrived. One of the stealth ships that had been disabled earlier still had power. It was sending encrypted signals. Again, they're coordinating something, Zoe said. Could be another wave. Ray stepped forward, then we don't wait this time. She tapped her console and brought up the ship's hidden tools, non-lethal disruptors, decoy flares. And a new tech the galaxy hadn't seen yet? Project Spectre, she said quietly. Activate it. Are you sure? Malik asked. We've never tested it in combat. Now's the time, she replied. The horizon's edge shimmered suddenly, and then vanished. Not cloaked, not invisible. Something more. It bent light, sound. Energy making it untouchable. They called it Spectre mode, and in this form, the ship moved like a ghost. It slipped between enemy ships unnoticed. Disabling their systems one by one without firing a shot, it disrupted command signals, stole enemy data, and fed it back to Allied fleets. Enemy coordination falling apart. Sentinel confirmed. They can't see us, and they can't talk to each other in just 10 minutes. The rogue attackers lost control of the battlefield, not through firepower, but through fear. Ray reappeared the ship just as fast, allowing allies to see her again. We don't hide, she said to her crew. We remind them who watches the Watchers from orbit. The battlefield now looked different. The once chaotic spiral of war was calming. Ships moved in patterns again, guided by human intel and strategy. Casualties dropped, evacuations increased, and real trust began to form. Captain Malik said, looking stunned. You've just turned a slaughter into a rescue. Ray gave a small nod. We're not done yet. There's still someone pulling strings. Zoe looked up the Vorthan flagship. It hasn't shown itself since the battle started. Ray's face hardened. Then it's time we found it. The Vorthan flagship had vanished, but its shadow still controlled the war. Captain Elena Ray paced slowly across the bridge of the horizon's edge, outside the windows. The battlefield had grown quieter. But not safer. Ships were regrouping. Survivors were fleeing, and the traitors were hiding deeper in the dark. We've stopped the chaos for now, Commander Malik said. But the one who started it is still out there. Ray nodded, her jaw clenched. And we won't win anything until we pull them into the light. Zoe called out from her console. Captain, we've picked up a faint distortion near the gas moon. Could be a cloaked ship, but it's massive. Ray's eyes narrowed. That's it, she said. The flagship didn't run. It hid. She tapped her control panel. Opening a secure link to Sentinel, the ship's AI Sentinel. Prepare for high-risk maneuver, she said. We're going to draw the Vorthon flagship. Out, understood, Captain, the AI replied. Do you authorize decoy protocol Spectre variant Bravo? Yes, Ray said calmly. Let's give them a reason to come out. The crew worked fast. A special drone launched from the lower bays shaped like a human escape pod. It broadcast fake distress signals in human code and slowly drifted toward the gas moon. Think they'll take the bait? Malik asked. Ray didn't smile. If they're really planning to frame us, they'll come out to capture it. And just minutes later, something huge moved near the moon's edge. There. Zoe shouted, large vessel, Ducloken, Vorthan. Signature confirmed. It's the flagship. The enemy ship appeared like a monster from a nightmare dark silver hole, glowing red engines and weapon ports as big as city buildings. It locked onto the decoy instantly. They think we're trying to escape, Malik muttered. They're going to grab it and say we ran away like cowards. Ray raised a hand, time to end the game. The horizon's edge activated full. Power shields, engines, weapons, everything lit up at once. It burst from behind the moon like a lightning strike. The Vorthan flagship hesitated for 1 second too long. Fire pulse jammers, Ray ordered. Blue rings of energy exploded toward the Vorthan ship. Cutting off its signal control and disabling its cloak systems, suddenly the ship was exposed. Just to the humans, but to everyone watching, Zoe grinned. We're streaming this live across every Allied channel. Captain, they can't hide anymore. Inside the Vorthan flagship, confusion spread. There, Leader Commander, Valter, shouted orders, but none of them worked. Human code had already begun slicing into his systems, Captain, Malik said. We have full access to their logs. We're downloading files, messages, orders, battle plans, not at all to the Yellery Council, Ray said. Now, as the data flowed out, the truth unfolded for the galaxy to see. The Vorthon leadership had staged the war. Simulation to eliminate their political enemies, the plan was to start a real battle, make it look like chaos, and blame it all on the humans. But it had failed. because humanity refused to be silent. Because they acted, Captain, Sentinel said calmly. The enemy flagship is powering up main cannon. Estimated time to fire. 40 seconds, cornered. Malik said. They'd rather go out and fire than surrender. Ray stared at the giant warship ahead of her. Then she gave one simple command. Target the cannon's power node. Fire plasma lance. A thin, golden beam shot from the front of the horizon's edge. It pierced the Vorthon flagship's right side, melting armor and slicing through the power node. The weapon didn't fire. The flagship shuddered, then went dark on the open channels. Silence filled the air. Then one voice broke it. This is the Boardrex command, a deep voice said. The human ship has stopped the traitors. We will follow their lead. More voices followed. The Trivax, Hulari, even neutral Vorthan commanders, all speaking in one message. Humanity turned the tide. Zoe sat back, stunned. Captain. They're all acknowledging us as field command. Ray didn't speak for a moment. Then she nodded slowly. We didn't come here to lead, she said softly, but someone had to. The horizon's edge began helping damaged ships, guiding survivors, securing evidence. The war had not ended, but the lies had, and in their place, something new began. Asterix's victory felt close, but Captain Elena Ray knew the real enemy was still hiding. The Vorthan flagship floated powerless near. The gas moon, its weapons were dead, its shields broken, and across the battlefield, dozens of alien fleets watched the human ship in silence and awe, but something felt wrong. Captain, Zoe said, eyes locked on her screen. We're getting strange energy readings from inside the flagship, something deep in its lower decks, underneath all the control systems. Ray leaned closer. Can you identify it? But it's shielded, Zoe replied, and it's drawing power from an independent core. Not part of the main ship grid, Commander Malik frowned. A second power source? That's not standard, Ray narrowed her eyes. Send in a probe. Stealth mode, full sensors, the horizon's edge launched a small orb-shaped probe. It zipped silently toward the crippled Vorthan ship and slipped inside through a melted section of the hull. What it found was worse than anyone expected, Captain. Zoe's voice shook. That's not just a power core down there. She tapped her console. And a screen lit up. Inside the Vorthon flagship's secret chamber sat a massive black sphere, spinning slowly, surrounded by glowing rings of alien script. Strange energy pulsed from it, flowing into hidden wires and buried systems. It's not Vorthan tech, Zoe whispered. It's older. And it's not on any known registry. Ray felt a chill crawl down her spine. That's not a weapon, she said. That's a command node, something meant to control minds or machines. Malik's face went pale. Captain, if that thing was active during the simulation, they weren't just watching the fleets, they were influencing them. Zoe looked up, horrified. You mean some ships didn't turn against each other by choice? Ray nodded grimly. They were pushed, controlled. The truth was darker. Then war this had never been about political betrayal alone. It was an experiment, Sentinel, Ray called. Analyze the structure of that sphere. Is it human-made, Vorthan, or something else? The AI scanned quickly, then replied, unknown origin. Material predates Vorthan civilization, possibly ancient precursor tech. Functions include psychic transmission, behavior alteration, and suggestion loops, Malik whispered. They were testing it on us, on everyone. Ray's voice grew firm. Download all data, then prepare to destroy it. But Captain, Zoe warned, if this is ancient tech, we might be destroying something irreplaceable. Ray didn't flinch. If it can control minds, it doesn't belong in anyone's hands. Just then, signal came through from the Vorthan ship, scrambled, weak, but clear enough. It was Commander Velter. I don't understand what you found, he hissed. It's not ours, we discovered. It buried on a dead world. It speaks through light and thought. It promised victory. It lied. Ray interrupted. And you believed it. You can't destroy it, Velter growled. It's part of something bigger, a network, a gate. But Ray ended the transmission. We've heard enough lies, she said. Zoe's hands moved fast. Drone is in position to deliver fusion charge on your order. Captain Ray hesitated only a moment. Do it. The probe released the charge, and the screen flashed as the secret chamber exploded in a burst of white fire. The black sphere shattered, and the strange energy vanished instantly. On the bridge, everyone sat silent. Then Sentinel spoke. Unknown signals across the field have ceased. Mind interference has ended. Ray looked at Malik. Let's tell the galaxy the truth. The battle wasn't just a setup. It was a mind test. Zoe was already preparing the files, sending full data packet to the Yulari. In all allied fleets, within minutes, the galaxy began to respond. The Trivax issued a formal apology. To the board Rex, the Halari halted their retreat and offered aid to wounded enemies. And several Vorthan commanders broke ranks. Calling for an investigation into their own government, Malik turned to Ray. We just shattered more than a flagship, said. We broke the machine they used to twist reality. Ray nodded, but her face stayed serious. We also opened a bigger question, she said. Where did that tech come from? Who built it, and how many more are still out there? Zoe's voice came softly. Captain, if this was part of a network, someone might have heard us destroy it. Ray stared at the screen showing deep space. Then we'd better be ready. For the ones who come looking, she said. The war they just stopped was only a beginning. The truth hidden beneath one fake battle might lead to a real war no one had imagined yet. They had come to watch now. The galaxy looked to them for answers. The battlefield near the gas moon was quiet at last. Ships hovered in silence, smoke rising from broken holes, lights flickering inside damaged vessels, but one ship rises. Edge stood strong at the center of it all. Captain Elena Ray stood at the bridge window, arms crossed, eyes fixed on the dark void beyond. We were never supposed to be here this long, Commander Malik said behind her. Our mission was just to observe. Take notes, report back. Ray didn't turn. Now we've written a chapter into history. The Vorthon flagship remained crippled, drifting, and powerless. The alien mind tech buried inside it had been destroyed but not forgotten, the data they'd pulled from the ruins had spread across the galaxy like a storm. Zoe's voice broke the silence. Captain. The Yulari Council just sent their decision. Ray turned around slowly. Let's hear it. Zoe read the message aloud. They're calling for a full investigation into the Vorthan High Command. They've also declared humanity as a recognized, stabilizing power. With immediate observer command status, Malik blinked. We went from uninvited guests to galactic referees. Ray gave a faint smile. Not bad for a species they once laughed at, but the news didn't end there, Zoe continued. The Boardrex, Halari, and Trivax fleets are requesting joint strategy meetings. And they've asked if we'd lead them. Ray raised an eyebrow. They want a human to lead multi-species peace talks? Specifically you, Zoe added, smiling. Ray looked at the crew people who had started this mission with nothing but caution and curiosity. And now they were being called heroes, leaders, and protectors. Malik spoke softly. Captain, did we just stop a war? No, Ray said. We stopped one battle. The war hasn't even started yet. She walked to the central screen and brought up the ancient mind tech design, rotating slowly in 3D, glowing with strange symbols. This wasn't just a weapon, she said. It was part of something larger, something that can influence entire fleets without them knowing. This was a test. Zoe's face darkened. You think someone else was watching us? Ray nodded. We destroyed their device, exposed their plans. Now they know humanity won't be silent. A long pause filled the room. Then Sentinel, the ship's abyss, spoke for the first time in hours. Captain, long-range sensors have detected movement beyond the outer gas ring. A vessel, unknown class, not in any galactic registry. Everyone froze. Ray stepped forward. On screen, the image appeared. A black vessel, sharp and silent. Moving with purpose through deep space. It didn't have a flag or a signal. No one hailed it. What is that? Zoe asked quietly. Ray stared at the ship, a chill in her spine. Something that wasn't supposed to be seen. The unknown ship didn't stop. Didn't attack, just watched, then vanished into a jump gate humans had never seen before, Captain. Sentinel said that was not Vorthan. Or anything we've encountered before. Ray looked at her crew, her voice low, whoever they are. They sent the device, watched the battle, and now they know we're not afraid to act. Malik stepped beside her. What do we do now? Ray took a breath, then smiled slightly. We get ready, she said. We rebuild trust, form alliances, prepare defenses, and when the next game starts, we won't just be observers. Zoe grinned. We'll be the ones writing the rules. Outside the ship, repair drones moved quietly. Helping damaged vessels, emergency lights blinked like stars. Ships that once fired on each other now sent messages of thanks and hope. The horizon's edge had done more than survive, it had become a symbol, a reminder that courage isn't about size or firepower. It's about choosing to act when no one else will. And as the stars returned to silence, a message echoed across the galaxy. Humanity came to watch, but they left as the ones who changed the game.